Go ahead, Joanne has a question.
Okay, so this is about the pay scale, and I'm trying to wrap my head around all the details of it so I can explain it to someone else now. So I noticed today that there's a discrepancy between the summary and the TA in years, and I just want to clarify that. It shows the pay scale increases on the summary. It shows May 2020, 21, 22, 23, and the TA shows 20, 21, 23, 24. So instead of 22, 23 on the summary, is it 23, 24 as?
No, we just need to check the edits. That's all.
It is. It's just that there's no raise in 22. I mean, in 21. So
Wait,
actually,
I'm
there's.
sorry, which year is it? Just tell me which years that we're getting the raises.
Okay, so there's a raise on this year. There's no raise. There's no raise in 21. There's a raise in 22, and there's a raise in 23.
22 and 23, like it says on the summary, not like it shows in the draft of the TA.
Yeah, and I that's my bad. I didn't even notice that. This is the company spreadsheet actually that I put in here, so I should have noticed that. But yes, that is correct.
So the 4 dates on page 8 of the actual TA draft should be 20, 21, 23, or excuse me, what should it say?
So the first one should it should say 9/1/20.
5/1/20.
No, 9/1.
Well, it says 5/1.
I know, it should say 9/1.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we were clear.
And then it should say 5/1/21, but there's no increase there. It's the same.
Okay.
Then it should say 5/1/22 and 5/1/23.
Okay. That's what we thought, because generally on the year that it's due, you don't get a raise on a year that it's due to.
Right, because you don't usually get a raise on the amendable date, right?
On the amendable date, right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. I just trying.
Actually, thank you for pointing that out, because I just tend to gloss those over, so thank you.
Well, I just wanted to make sure I know how to explain it to someone else, so I'm just wrapping my head around this whole pay scale thing right now, so.
Sure.
Thank you.
So we're not making that any easier for you, so yeah. All right, anybody else? We have another new person who joined us from Vancouver, it looks like, or somewhere in that area.
Oh, good. So first, Kim, did you have some questions? I believe it was Kim who said she had jumped on earlier and gave us her name for that number. Do you have any questions for us today?
No, I've actually just been dialing in every day just to listen, so that I've already cast my vote. I was just informing myself to make sure I understood the contract better than I understood the last contract.
No, that's fantastic. It's a great opportunity to get to know all the ins and outs of it before it's either in place or you need to answer a survey if it's voted down. So one or the other. It's a great time to get all of those little pieces understood. Knowing your contract is the best thing you can do.
No, it's been very, very informative, helpful, and I'm glad. Thank you guys for doing it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad. And then we have this other phone number who joined us, this 360-903-3019 number. I'm wondering if you have any questions for us today. I can unmute you.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, Lisa Youngchild here. I just was seeing on Facebook that you guys were holding a meeting every day now at 12:30, and I thought I'd call in and listen. And one question I had, I haven't received anything. I'm going to the post office today to look for the vote. And when is the vote due by?
Noon on the 30th.
Okay.
And it is a final vote. This is the first year we won't be able to change our vote. So make sure when you vote that you have come to your final decision and don't need to change your mind, because you won't be able to go back in.
But we,
And
Okay.
if you have any trouble voting, reach out to any of us, your local officer, Amy Baird, our secretary treasurer, or your local secretaries, if you have any issues, and we can walk you through making sure that your code works and all of that if you have a problem.
Okay. All right. And then I can just go on the webpage for the AFA to read the agreement. I actually haven't read the entire agreement yet, so I've been listening to things and other people, but I know there's a 1% pay and a few things are good that are in the contract.
no, there's not,
kind of need the high.
there's
No?
not a, yeah, let's be clear. The pay raise, I'm assuming you're not in your first year, is actually to start 4.75%, not 1%. That's only for new hires.
It's the first year of
okay.
hire, not the first year of the TA. It's the first year of hire at Horizon is at 1%.
Ah,
So you'll
Okay.
get 4.75%.
gotcha. Okay.
That's a
That
good
sounds
thing
good.
to clear up.
Yeah, that is. Okay, good. Okay, well, I'll just listen and
Okay, Lisa, thanks for joining us. And if you have any questions about any parts of the TA as we go through, just, we've got this little raise hand feature. Feel free to raise your hand or just unmute yourself and jump in. I see Pam has a question, so
I just unmuted her.
perfect.
Good morning or afternoon, I guess now. To the new Lisa that just joined, I know you haven't read the TA yet, but once you read it, I'd encourage you also to go to the YouTube video, which was dated 4/18 of for the TC presentation. It answers a whole lot of questions and gives more clarification that's not in the TA.
Yeah, we did one on the 15th and one on the 18th. So whichever one pops up is, they're both
Yeah.
basically the same.
Both get a lot of really good information. So that was all I had.
okay.
Thank you, Pam.
Okay, so you just go to YouTube and then what? How do I find this?
If you go to
Look for-
AFA, I don't know, is it AFA Horizon or Horizon AFA?
It's afahorizon.org.
And scroll down, there's like the negotiations page, and there's one link to like YouTube, and just click on that.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you. And then do you put me on mute every time we get done talking?
Yes, just in case there's
Okay, that's
background
good
noise.
because yeah, that's good because I'm at a construction site right now. So thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank
mute
you.
now.
I'll do
Okay,
that.
thanks.
Okay.
All right.
I'm
Anyone
going to
have-
see, Kimberly, if I can pull that up and share my screen and show everyone where it is, if I can find it.
I just looked at it earlier today, so yeah, I know it's there.
Okay, let's see here. I'm scrolling through. Scroll. Yesterday's questions. We have our questions of the day that are on our website in writing. Oh, here we go. Okay, let's go back.
Can
And
you
let me
share
see
the
if I
screen?
can share my screen.
If you can't, I will, but you are co-host, so you should be able to. Hang in there, Joanne.
Let's see if I share my desktop one.
You want me to do it? I only have
Yes,
one.
you've done it before. Go ahead.
Okay. So, Joanne, do you want to ask your question while I'm doing that?
Sure. So yesterday, when I was texting back and forth with Kevin about this new YouTube channel and how it's listed on our website and everything, I couldn't even find it. You know, it's even though I knew it was there, it was difficult to see. So I posted on Facebook yesterday to try to do a screenshot of that for everyone. But in that conversation, well, okay, first of all, I discovered at the top of our
Here it is. So we can scroll down.
Okay, yes, perfect.
Update,
there you go.
and right
so
here it says,
in the little letters, it says YouTube there.
yeah. So you click that.
Right, but it's hard to see. What I'm saying, if you could point to that little thing instead of doing what you just did, point to that little YouTube deal so that people can see it.
All right. Oops. I don't know what it's doing. It's surprising us. Okay, right here.
Yeah, so point, like circle it or point it or whatever you can do.
Well, I can't
Oh
really-
no, he made it bigger. Yesterday that wasn't there. I asked him for that link. It was just in the words at the top yesterday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. It was. So Kevin fixed that.
Right.
So you
And I
can do
said
that.
my eyes are old and I need bigger screen, bigger place for that. But anyway,
And there's a bunch of videos on here, but you're going to want to watch this one over here that has the PowerPoint screen. So this says 418, but there's another one from 415, but they're basically the same. And it's almost 2 hours, but you don't have to watch it all in one sitting. So
anyway, the reason I brought this up was for that reason, so that people could find it. But also, when you get on the YouTube page, please consider everyone to subscribe to our new YouTube page. And then you can set the alerts so that you get alerts when there's new videos on our new YouTube page. So that is something that I was unaware of yesterday, and I've subscribed. And some people are real familiar with YouTube's format, and they're used to doing that with other YouTube things. So that is just a good tool that we have.
okay, I'm trying to
We're
figure out how to
just getting so many new things.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to unshare the screen here. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right. Does anyone else have a question?
We didn't get any questions in text messaging or email yesterday or today. So
Amy's having trouble getting in, but she might know. Has there been anything on Facebook that we want to address?
I was not on Facebook yesterday, so I don't know that there was anything that was presented. Pam, were you on Facebook yesterday? Do you know if anything did you see anything that needed to be highlighted? No? Okay.
It's getting kind of repetitive, I think.
Yeah.
Which is good.
I think people are definitely finding that they're getting their questions answered. So that's really a good thing.
All right, Joelle has a question. Go ahead, dear.
Hello. Hey, I just saw a post on Facebook, and I don't know, maybe we should just have it on the recording. There was a new flight attendant, a probationary flight attendant, who is not able to vote on the contract. If we wanted to just speak to that, there was someone who was concerned about it. So,
Well, I'm not sure how to answer that. I mean, our Constitution and bylaws says that your first 4 months, you're not a member and you don't get to vote. So we can't really change that. But obviously when we are in negotiations, we're looking out for the whole group and knowing that even though that person is on probation now, by the end of this, they're going to be a 4-year flight attendant, right? So maybe she's new to negotiations. I don't know, that it's a balancing act and we try to balance all the interests of the different seniority groups and so forth. Was that the specific question, or was there something else she wanted to know?
I think she just wanted to know if there was representation for that group, and I think just a basic explanation of how this all works is probably just going to have to be sufficient. Unfortunately,
we can't. Unfortunately, we can't really have a probationary on the negotiating committee because you A, have to be a member, and B, because by the time you're like a couple months into negotiations, you're no longer on probation, right? Or you're no longer a non-member. So we just take as part of our duty of fair representation, which is the legal duty that we owe to the flight attendants as a union, that we represent all of them, including the probationaries who will become members.
And to add on to that, when we're at the negotiating table and we were actively making sure that we're protecting those probationary, the first year flight attendants, I would have to say, the first year flight attendants, we're really working to make sure that there's enhanced provisions for reserve. All of the things that we were able to gain in the reserve section are definitely applicable to those people who are new and coming on board, may not be able to be represented, but they're still getting that pay for reserve and able to pick up trips from open time and those things that we worked really hard to make sure we were getting in the contract for them versus just the company's proposal of just the straight reserve policy with no enhancements. So we're definitely thinking about them and making sure that we add in things that are important to reserve, which we typically we think of for the newer hires. And in those 2 classes in January and February, we were good about letting them know that unfortunately the way that it was looking, we did not know if they would be able to vote or not. At that point in time during both of those classes, we didn't know when the TA was going to be finished. So we weren't able to really speak incredibly specifically to it, unfortunately, but we gave them just an overall quick glimpse of what that would look like potentially for them.
Hey Lisa, can you text Amy, because it's showing her trying to join for like the last 7 or 8 minutes, and maybe she needs to hang up and try again.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay, Joanne, what do you got?
I have a member that wanted to vote by telephone, and it's not described in our ballot, but I've worked with Tanya Phillips this morning, and there is a number that they can do that as long as they have their activation code that they received on their ballot in the mail. And just in case there's somebody out there that's in a position where they are not, they're on a desert island and they have a phone but no computer, I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to put that out there in case, somebody has a friend that is not able to manage the computer version of it and wants to call it in. It is available still. It's just not, it's easier to do on the computer, I think. But
yes.
Anyway.
Thank you.
I sent Amy a text. I'm not sure why she isn't able to get in. It might just be her internet connection today.
Yeah. Well, she can call in if she wants to.
Oh, that's right.
We have a new person, Galaxy S10e.
It's just Jamie.
Oh, it is Amy. Oh, that's so weird.
No, it's Jamie.
Oh, hi, Jamie. How are you?
Doing well. How are you guys?
Good, thanks. Never sure when it just says like the phone, if it's Dee Dee or Rachel or a real flight attendant. So just kidding. They've never tried. All right, guys, nothing?
Let's go through the committee and see if the committee has anything to say. Tanya, I see you're on. Is there anything you wanted to say today? Say hello.
Let me unmute her. Go ahead, Tanya.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm on my phone, so can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, great. I just wanted to thank everybody, especially Joanne. She's been doing a lot of work behind the scenes with flight attendants, trying to get the word out to them. And Joanne, I just want you to know that we, as a committee, really appreciate that. It takes all of us to get this done, and it has not gone unnoticed by any of us. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. Also, I just wanted to, it doesn't matter if people are voting yes or no. We're a family, and we need to just support one another with respect, no matter how we're voting. And I just want to put that out there. So if you have any questions or need somebody to listen, you're free to call any of us, and we'll be here for you. So that's all I want to say.
Great. Thanks, Tanya.
Yeah, I want to follow up on something that Tanya said, which is that the purpose of these calls is not to be a rah-rah for ratification. It is to legitimately give people information so they can make a decision. And I don't want people to feel uncomfortable or unwelcome if they are opponents of the TA, if they really just want information.
Absolutely. That's really important. I mean, we need to have as many people in these sessions as possible. And the way that you are going to vote is not something that we're discussing in the session. We're discussing purely what your questions are, what your concerns might be, and the background of how we reached the information that we decided on in a section. So, there's background that we can go over, but absolutely we need to to make everyone feel welcome to the calls and make everyone feel comfortable in what their decision is to vote on the TA, whatever that vote is.
And please encourage them to vote, because the more people that vote, that sends a message to management that we're united and that we're strong. And that's important going forward and trying to enforce the contract.
Very important. Yeah, voting is extremely important.
All right, Joanna has another question.
Unmute myself.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tanya. I had a conversation with Kirk this morning. I'm willing to make phone calls to make sure everybody got their ballot. So Tanya, if you want to work with me on that, or whoever's working on that, I just think that's another thing too. I've reached out, individually and just, basically put a text and a Facebook Messenger out to some of my friends, and several people haven't gotten their ballot because of their traveling situation or whatever. And I don't want to miss any votes. So I'm willing to start a phone tree, if anybody else is interested in joining me. I think that, just to say, hey, have you got your ballot? Do you have any questions? And then direct them to someone else if you don't have the answers or whatever, but I'm willing to do that.
Joanne, I'll give you a call tonight and we'll set something up, kind of divvy up the list so we can get that going, because that is really important. So thanks for your help on that.
Sure.
This is Kim, and I'd be happy to help with that as well, since I'm off for quite a bit of time, so I'd be happy to help with that. I did have a question though. I am actually an in-flight trainer as well. And I would just be curious to understand the changes to the in-flight training pay. They seem to be kind of significant.
Yeah, so they are and they're not. So the company wanted to get out of having to pay the annual override to people, because what they want is to have a larger pool of, I think especially IOE more than instructors. And so they wanted to have more people available. And but if they had to pay them all that override, then they weren't going to be able to do that. So the amount shouldn't, if you work the same amount, you shouldn't really see any difference. But it gives you a little more flexibility to work more or less and still maintain that position. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thanks for that clarification. It's just sometimes the way that they apply students to our lines as IOE instructors, it just seems kind of random, or I don't know if they'll have to do a better job of applying them equally to the pool of in-flight trainers, if that makes sense. It just seems like the way that the training department does it is, as I understand it, is those of us who are flying at the beginning of the month, they try and get the students through as soon as possible. So if you have trips at the beginning of the month, you get students. If you, for whatever reason, don't work toward the latter part of the month, you're probably not going to get students. So then again, you wouldn't be making any of your instructor override pay.
Right. Well, I don't know the answer to that, because obviously it makes sense that they'd want to get those people out done as quickly as possible. But I don't know, Lisa, do you have any insight into that?
No, actually, I don't. Kirk has worked historically quite a bit with the instructors. Maybe let's see if Kirk has some thoughts on that. Let's see if we can unmute Kirk. Oh,
hi. Sorry.
It's okay.
I had it on mute for a reason. The little dachshunds are very excited. Be quiet. Sorry. Could you repeat the question? I couldn't hear who it was in the instructor.
She was asking about how, if they're going to make any effort to spread the IOE flying out, because right now she said that if you only have flying at the end of the month, or you backload your flying, you're not getting many IOEs.
Yes, I don't think that was addressed in this TA, and I don't think it's addressed in the contract specifically. So yeah, it should be more equitable, spread out. That's a good point. If the trainers feel it needs to be done, I mean, I can work on that on the side to get a side agreement on that.
Okay.
Yeah. So just email me or call me later, and it won't get done this week, but eventually we can focus on that and get something where it's more equitable for the trainers.
Well, we got some time. I don't think they're going to hire anyone for a while.
Yeah, good point.
So
yeah,
we'll get it done while if we have time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it should be equitable. So, great question.
Yeah, and if you have more specific questions and this wasn't a good enough all-around answer for you, feel free to follow up with us and ask some more specific questions as well. I want you to definitely feel confident in the answer if you're still questioning some parts of it.
No, I think that answers my question. I just wasn't sure if anybody even, brought that up to the training department. So when I looked at it, I mean, I'm usually flying at the beginning of the month, so it's not an issue for me usually, but I'm just thinking, now that it's going to be just you're paid only when you have IOE students, I could see it becoming an issue in the future.
That's a good point.
Trainers,
right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anybody else? Well, Lisa?
No, maybe I'll put something out maybe that just says, we're still available for phone calls since the session was so quick today and someone might try to buzz in at 1:30 and we're not here. So I'll try and get a little post on HCN AFA that we're available to take phone calls if somebody missed us today.
If one of you could put that on Facebook, that would be really good too. I think more people unfortunately go there for their information.
Yes, Joanne. Hi.
Hi. So I'm trying to wrap my head around some parts of the contract that I haven't learned completely yet, because I am putting myself out there with those phone calls. So if they have questions, I'm trying to understand. For instance, reserve section. Maybe a review of the changes in the reserve section could be helpful right now for me, or maybe I should just talk to one of you individually about that. I don't know which is better.
I mean, I can give you like a 3-minute overview.
Sure.
So the big changes are that we go from 14 hours where your home on reserve time counts towards your total 14 hours to starting the 14-hour or the maximum duty period, which is 12 in this case, at check-in. And unless you're on airport reserve, your time on reserve doesn't count toward that time. The other big change.
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Okay, so currently, say you have a reserve block from 10 a.m. to midnight, right? 14 hours, okay? Currently, if you start your duty period or your reserve availability at 10 a.m. and you get called out at 2 o'clock, you still have to be done by midnight because that time on reserve counts toward your maximum day. Mm-hmm. In today's world, if you get called out at 2 o'clock, you could technically be scheduled till 2 a.m. Now, your flying doesn't really work that way, but you could because that's 12 hours from that point. Okay. So that's a big change, and it's just a structural change. So the other big changes would be there are no more airport reserve lines. It is just an assignment from reserve, like a trip.
Okay. So they could actually assign you a trip that says you're at airport.
Well, I don't know what it would look like in open time, but yes.
Okay.
The other big change is that twice a month of an AM or PM reserve can be converted to what we call extended reserve, which is a 24-hour instead of a 14-hour period. And there's some pay components that go with that if you're not used. Every block hour that you fly as a reserve, you will be paid an extra $2.50. And I think those are the big changes.
So explain that every block hour thing again. So normally a reserve that is just sitting and not working is just getting paid their minimum guarantee, right?
If they are not called out, yeah.
Right. But if they, so they'll get their minimum guarantee plus the block?
Plus the $250 per block, not the whole block. Yeah.
Plus the $250 block that you just said, that for whatever hours they actually fly.
Right. So it's not based on the trip rig or the duty rig or credit driver. It's based on, that one is just as if all the trips were block trips, even though for purposes of their guarantee, they're being treated with the value of the trip in the rig. So there's definitely some more money-making potential for them in there. Okay. Kirk, did you have a question?
Yes. Yesterday there was a question regarding assignment of 5 and 6 day blocks reserve and or assigning yourself trips. Can you assign yourself like 6 days in a row of airport reserve? If you have a 6 day block and you want to do airport reserve every day?
No, because you can only assign yourself for the next day.
Oh, okay.
And the only people who can assign themselves airport reserve are people who have a 5 day, a 6 day, or a 1 day block.
So if you had a 5 day block, you could do 5 days airport reserve or just 1 day, the first day.
You could do 1 day of it, and then you would be, the next day you'd have to pick up a 4 day, and then if there weren't any and you didn't get used, when you have 3 days, you have to pick up a 3 day, etc. So you have to fill in your days of availability up to 4 days, and beyond that, you can pick up airport reserve for the following day.
Oh, I understand now. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anyone else?
I have a question as to what rig refers to. Is that term what is used to define the formula to determine whether it's like a block trip, a duty trip, a time away from base trip?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I don't know where that terminology comes from. I think it has some military background. I'm not sure. It's actually an acronym for something that I can never remember. But yeah, so when I say rigs, I mean either that it's a block trip, it's a duty period trip, it's a time away from base trip, or it's a minimum duty period credit trip.
Okay, thank you.
In the next day.
Is that your dog, Lisa?
Yes.
Hey, on the topic of reserves will now bid in PBS, right?
They'll bid the same as they do today. So they'll bid for their days off in PBS, and then they will bid the AM PM separately until we can get that programmed.
Perfect. Thank you.
Anyone? Okay, well.
All right.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thanks everybody so much for joining us. And if you do run across somebody who is trying to get in and we're not here since we're signing off, please forward them my mobile number and I will be happy to dial in Kimberly and answer whatever questions we can answer for them.
Do you want to say that number real quick, Lisa?
415-601-3265. Don't post it on Facebook.
Dox you, Lisa.
I know. Thanks so much, you guys. It's really great to see everyone again today. We appreciate your time very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.